Welcome to our South Ogden City Council meeting for Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. Entertain a motion that we begin.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. We excuse Councilmember Howe, who's out of town, might join us at the end, and Councilmember Howard's at an important family function tonight. So I'll start with a moment of silence. Please join us in that, after which Councilmember Stewart will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Please rise.
Thank you. First item is recognition and introduction of one of our new employees. We have a new IT support staff member, Greg Kraft. Greg, I know this is the thing you look forward to the least this week, but if I'll invite you up to the podium and introduce yourself to the council.
Yeah, this is a first. Name's Greg Kraft. Been in IT, my first computer I worked on was with Adam and Eve, and been doing it for over 30 years throughout the United States, supported systems there and even systems in Europe and Asia, and just working here because I just wanted to keep my hands in technology but not be in the high pressure position. So I'm excited. I've met a lot of good people here.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks.
Glad you're here. Thanks a lot. Next, before public comment, is a report from our mosquito abatement district by one of our South Ogden residents, Sally Orr.
Hi, guys. I'm Sally Orr. Do I say anything? I don't have to say anything, do I? Okay.
You're on the agenda
Well,
already.
I will give you the report from the Weber mosquito abatement. And this year was a pretty good year for mosquitoes. It wasn't very bad at all until the end of the year when the farmers cut their hay and they no longer needed the irrigation. So all the irrigation water went straight out to the Great Salt Lake and flooded out there, and everything got wet and soggy, and then the mosquitoes could come out again. So that is why it was pretty bad at the end of the year when we really didn't have any rain. It was the irrigation water that went out and sogged everything up because they didn't use any of the irrigation water that went through. But next month on December 9th, they will have a public hearing for their budget, the proposed budget, at 6 p.m. on Monday, December 9th. And last year, we only had one human case of West Nile virus in Weber County, and there were 11 cases in Utah. And the last 2 years have been focusing on taking care of the storm drains by putting chemical in the storm drains to try to keep those from letting the larvae grow and mosquitoes coming out of those. So really, if you guys see storm drains around that you think probably they don't see, let them know, because if you see stagnant water there, that's probably a good place to throw a brickhead in to kill those guys. And I thought an interesting thing might be that you'd want to know is that they spend about $500,000 on chemicals every year, like $455,000 on chemicals to kill mosquitoes out in Weber County. I just came back from going to the Utah Mosquito Abatement Conference, and there's a new virus out that it's called the Oropuchi virus that used to be in around the Amazon River, and it was first discovered in Trinidad in 1955, and then in 2014 it was found in Haiti, and then in 2024 it was found in Cuba and the East Coast, Florida, up the East Coast in Florida. And all those cases are from travel or from people coming from those areas in, in the areas in South America that come up from there carrying the disease up here. And so they're watching that really close because it's linked to Zika virus, and they're watching that to see how fast it spreads, if it does spread into the United States. And also they said that dengue fever is now in every single state in the United States, and that's all from South America and people coming to America either from travel or just coming across to America. And they said that West Nile virus, I'm getting nervous up here, and I shouldn't be, because I shouldn't be nervous at all. But it's intimidating, so now I understand how I tell people, just come up here and talk and tell us what you
what's on your
want.
mind.
I was like, okay, we'll just come up here and talk, Sally. And West Nile virus is pretty much worldwide now, and not just in South America. So with these mosquitoes that can get everywhere, and the one meeting that we had, they said it used to be that to get around the world, there was only like 3 or 4 flights, and it took a long time to get around the world, and now there's thousands and thousands every day to get around the world, so you can get these diseases so quick to get to everybody, and so it just spreads really fast now. And they talked about the importance of cleaning up the backyards and dumping your drains and dumping your valve boxes and tires and bins and buckets and trash cans and coolers and not letting the mosquitoes sit there. And this was really interesting to me, is that some mosquitoes, you guys like all this? I know
No one's asleep yet. They're good.
and that some mosquitoes, because this is crazy, some mosquitoes lay their eggs, they eat a blood meal, and then when it's almost winter, they lay their eggs in the mud, and they can let them sit there, dry out. They can stay, that egg can stay in the mud for up to 10 years. And then when the water comes back, they can hatch, and we'll have a mosquito. And some mosquitoes stay alive over winter, but they are dormant, kind of. And so if you see a mosquito that's under a rock or anywhere that's just kind of hanging out there, he's just laying there waiting until summer, and then he'll come out. So smash them, because they will just wait till summer to come back out. So that is all I really have for you. If you want any more information, I have much more, but thanks for letting me be on this mosquito abatement. It's amazing how fun it is to learn about these little bitey guys, and I would be happy to keep serving on it if you decide to let me do that. But
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you for your service on that for so long, and your service here, too.
It's
Thanks,
fun.
Sally.
And Mayor,
Yes.
Sally, why don't you talk about the facility out there? Because they've done a lot of improvements there in mosquito abatement. They actually go through and test, and they develop their fishes out there, and so they have done a tremendous amount of improvement to their facility out there.
They have. They are just finishing probably in January the last building they're going to build, and that's to store the rest of the trucks in out there. And that was like $1 million, which everyone on the board thought was way too much, but things cost more than you think to build. And they do grow their own fish to put in the ponds, and other places that want mosquito fish to eat the mosquito larvae. So anyone in the Weaver County can call and ask for mosquito fish in the spring, and they will come out and drop them in your pond. I used to have them come out and drop them in my little water thing, but I don't have it anymore. But they will drop those little guys in, and they'll just eat the mosquitoes all year long. And then also, I know I talked to you guys before about it, but they also do their own, what is it called? And PCR testing. Also do their own PCR testing for the West Nile virus. And we used to have to send all of our, you gather up all your mosquitoes from one site, grind them all up, and then you put it into a little PCR test thing. And we used to have to send it to Utah State to get our results, and then it would take a week or whatever to get back. But now we can do it the same day, so we know if that site, wherever it is, out in West Haven or Plain City, you know, where they have a few mosquitoes, then we could get that back that same day, and then we know that they had a West Nile pond that had West Nile in it, and they can get to it really quick to get it killed, to hopefully stop the West Nile from growing any more mosquitoes coming from out there. And so that testing is done now in-house. And we're also using a lot of drones. We were probably one of the first Utah people that used drones. We started out with a little drone that we thought would that work to drop chemicals out in the little swampy areas out there, because they would take their little four-wheelers out and then dump them and then try to get other areas to dump them where they couldn't get the plane to go all the way. And now they just take their drone out, and they've got some drones that are just huge drones that dump a lot of chemical. And it's made it a lot easier for the guys to just stand on the edge and go out where the planes can't get. And so
That drone process is pretty amazing.
it is, and it's getting to be a really popular thing that a lot of mosquito districts are using them a lot.
You still use aerial spray out there on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
they do.
Thank
But
you
they
so
might
much.
use a
Oh.
different person, because the people we hire to do the aerial spraying aren't being as receptive as we'd like them to be, and coming as quick as we'd like them to kill our mosquitoes, so. Anyway,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
That was great. Next is public comment. Invite any members of the public to come and tell the mayor and council and staff what's on your mind. I'll give you 3 minutes.
I'm Sally Orr. And I wanted to ask you what the purple glow, funny purple glow, blue lights are. They kind of leave an eerie bluish glow on the street. There's a few around, and they are just weird. So I was going to ask John what the heck they were.
Mr. Anderson, you want to respond to the purple lights?
Really? It's like a street light that is just a purple glow. It doesn't light more than this much area of the street, and it's just an eerie purple glow. Really?
You give us an address, we'll take a look.
Okay, because I thought maybe they were coming in or out, but it's weird. Okay, and, yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Good. Just give us your name and tell us what's on your mind.
My name is James Edwards, resident of Ogden. I have a vested interest in Ogden real estate and South Ogden real estate. Simplest terms, I feel obligated to give credit where credit is due with the police department, the investigators, the city staff, and how cordial and how professional everybody has been, including the mayor reaching out to me personally with open arms and an open door. I have not received the same treatment in Ogden, and I feel that your officers, your staff are professional, cordial, especially with the circumstances that I am dealing with South Ogden City Police and with everything to try to rectify some problems and better the community. I just feel that credit needs to be where credit is due, and thank you.
Thank you, James. Appreciate what you're doing, too. Who else would like to talk to us? Come on up, Leonard.
My name's Leonard Nicholas. I've been here before about a problem I have. If a city issued a person I live in a cul-de-sac in 900 East. City issued the person a permit for a home business, and a home business is a yard maintenance business, but he does something year-round. Anyway, some of the conditions, he doesn't adhere to these conditions, a couple of them, like he's not supposed to do maintenance in his driveway, which he does. He's not supposed to park more than one vehicle on the road. He parks his truck plus one or two trailers on the road. Anyway, the other thing is that this most recent bulletin we got says winter parking restrictions are in effect on November 1st. His lawn trailer's been construction. It's a big box trailer. It's been parked in front of the house for 2 weeks, never moved. So I got a couple of questions. Number one, I don't understand why they don't revoke his permit because he doesn't adhere to the conditions they gave him. Second is, I wonder why we have a parking restriction if we can't enforce it. One time, I think, Mr. Mayor, you said that you didn't have the personnel to enforce these parking restrictions around us.
I'll comment when you're done. Keep going, Leonard.
I've talked to the
City
city manager twice about this, and he said he'd take care of it, but so far the trailer hasn't moved.
Okay, it's good to know. Thank you, Leonard. I'll respond to that when everybody's done. And I didn't mention, anybody watching online, you can also make a public comment, just write the words public comment, and then tell us what's on your mind. Anybody else like to address the council today? Okay, thank you. Leonard, you'll be happy to know that most of our work session tonight was talking about, we're going to hire a full-time code and ordinance enforcement officer starting in the spring. They'll be able to help us with these kinds of things. We do have staff. We have the address of that. We will address that, particularly if it snows and we have to plow. I will tell you that we will do something there.
The address is 5731 South, 900 East.
Okay, thank you. So we will look into that again. I was hoping my home visit there would have done more than it's done, it sounds like. So thank you for letting us know it hasn't been rectified. Okay. End of public comment. I know some of you are here for ordinance 24-14. We are going to move something further down the agenda up, and that's our CDRA board meeting, because we have our CDRA lawyer online. He has to be somewhere else, and he charges by the hour. So we're going to move that up. Sorry, it shouldn't be too long before we get to the next thing. So with the council's consent, would entertain a motion that we leave as a city council and convene as a South Ogden City Community Development and Renewal Agency Board.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're now the South Ogden City CDRA Board. There's two items here. One is the approval of the June 18th, 2024 CDRA meeting minutes. The last time we met as this board was in June. Any changes, corrections, adjustments to those minutes? Entertain a motion then that we approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. We have one discussion action item, consideration of CDRA Resolution 24-02, amending the participation agreement with the Gardens at Mount Ogden LLC. Mr. Dixon.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me see if our attorney, Adam, are you with us online? I am with you. Okay. Sorry, we couldn't find the remote for the projector, so I'll just have Adam on my laptop in the event that we need him. Back in October, I had to double check this, but it was October 5th, 2021, that it doesn't seem like it's been that long ago, but the CDRA board entered into a participation agreement for the Gardens Apartments on 40th. That project, as you know, has moved forward, and they're leased up or leasing up, and it's come time for them to seek long-term financing to move away from the construction loan, and it's my understanding as a result of that, the lending institution has reviewed the participation agreement and has asked that some amendments be made to make it possible for them to move to the long-term financing. I will mention that Jared is here representing the gardens. If you as a board have any questions of him, I'm sure he'd be happy to respond. So what's before you tonight? 3 amendments to the participation agreement. Pretty simple. The first one is just to clarify that the effective date of the agreement, it said 2021, but no one ever went back and put October 5th. The second recommendation is to be clear on the trigger date or the commencement date, as it's referred to in the participation agreement, and that is listed as December 31st, 2023, and that is in relation to the tax increment and when those tax increment calculations would begin. The third amendment is the deletion of section 1.9.8. And this has been reviewed by our CDRA attorney, Adam Long, who's online with me. He doesn't have any concerns about what's being recommended. That section, I think the protections there are more in place should the project have gone under before completion and before occupancy. So our attorney felt like, and Adam, I'll allow you to correct me if I misstate anything, but felt like that there'd be little to no risk at this point in deleting that section of the participation agreement. Mayor, if I, or Chairman, if I may, I'll just ask Adam if he has anything he'd want to add to that or correct.
No, that sounds about right, Matt. This provision was in there, really to shift risk away from the agency as much as possible. And as you said, I think that risk is pretty much gone now that the project is actually built. So I don't see a big issue with this.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for being here. Any other questions for Mr. Dixon or Mr. Long? Okay, hearing none, I entertain a motion that we approve CDRA Resolution 24-02, amending the participation agreement with the Gardens.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion second. Any further discussion? It's a roll call vote. Board Member Stewart?
No.
Board Member Smythe?
Yes.
Board Member Stevens?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, that's why I,
Mayor?
oh,
You're gonna,
We need 3 for it to pass.
that's right, not just the majority, there has to be 3.
Could we defer it to the next meeting, Mayor, on that?
How does that work? Is it voted down for good, or? I used to have
That's a
only
good
3.
question.
Yeah,
Let me think about it.
don't remember having just 3 and having a 2-to-1 vote, ever.
Or does the mayor have an opportunity to vote on this?
No, only in a
Yeah.
tie.
Okay.
I think that any member of the board can request that it be put back on the agenda for voting again.
is it not someone on the prevailing side needs to put it back on the agenda? I thought that's how our,
No, that's how it is when it's 3-2. Is there something wrong with this that we could fix for you?
Or is it the non-prevailing side?
no, it'd be the prevailing
Prevailing
side. So in this case, board member,
Either of the
Stewart.
board members who voted yes can ask that it be put back on.
no, the prevailing side is that the motion was denied or defeated. So that
Just
would mean
because of
someone
lack
on
of
that
votes,
side
not because it was overvoted, though. So this, is
See
that
what Adam
making it
thinks.
Let's see if
prevailing?
Adam's still listening in. Adam, are you still with us?
Yeah, he paused there for a little bit, so I think he filled in.
Okay, I'll fill you in, and I'll try to find a way to put the mic by my laptop so everyone can hear. So there was a motion to approve the resolution. We have 3 board members present and the chair, of course, does not vote, only in the event of a tie. And the vote to approve the resolution went 2-1. And we need, because there's only 3 board members, we need 3 in the affirmative for it to pass. So the question is just, is it officially dead? Can it be requested to be put back on for reconsideration, or kind of where does this leave us?
Without looking at agency bylaws, which I have not done in many, many years for South Ogden, that's a procedural question. I don't see anything that would prevent this from being on a future agenda if that's what we would like to do.
So we'll check the bylaws between now and the December meeting, and if it's allowed to put back on. Jared or James?
Jared.
Jared. And I missed, Jared, what's the timeline on this, and what happens if this is not approved by the council?
Basically, our loan reduces by $600,000, which will require us to basically bring an additional $600,000 to close out the construction loan. And this is something that is happening in the next week and a half. In fact, all the loan docs are out to all of the members for signature right now, and the lender is waiting on this decision. Unfortunately, it's right down to the wire. So.
Okay.
What's the last date on that you need to have either a yay or a nay?
The intention was, it was intended to close right before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So next week.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday is what the intention was.
Our next meeting is December 3rd.
Could we ask for a special council meeting prior to that?
Seat area board meeting. We could.
It'd be next week, I think, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have to be. Okay. Well, yeah, Councilmember Smythe? Talk into your microphone. Yeah, talk into your microphone. Yeah, and talk into it.
Mayor, I'm asking if, since we've discussed this before, and can we ask for a virtual vote?
I think they would have to be here tonight.
Yeah, they
for
would
this,
have to be
yeah.
attending this
Present.
meeting electronically and have voted. We can't have them vote outside the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll check our options.
Okay.
Work with Mr. Dixon tomorrow, see what we can do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, entertain a motion that we adjourn our CDRA board meeting and reconvene in our city council meeting.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, great. On our council agenda, there's one item on the consent agenda, that's approval of the October 15th, 2024 council minutes. Any corrections, changes to those minutes? Entertain a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Our first discussion action item is consideration of ordinance 24-14, amending code 10-14-12A concerning private swimming pool setbacks. Alaka, our planner, please.
Okay, so just some background on this. So this came from a resident. He submitted a zoning ordinance amendment application. He's basically asking the city to look at the setback requirements for a pool, specifically the site setback. They were wanting to reduce it from 15 to 10. So staff looked at surrounding cities and looked at what their setback requirements were, and mostly it was anywhere from 5 to 10 feet. So this was on the, let's see, October 10th Planning Commission meeting, where Planning Commission recommended the City Council to reduce the site setback from 15 to 6 feet. And then it was on that following City Council meeting on October 15th, where council had a discussion on entertaining, changing it to 6 feet. And now it's in front of you to vote.
Okay, questions, comments for Alka? Councilmember Stewart? Were you? Okay. Entertain a motion that we approve ordinance 24-14.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. This too is a roll call vote. Councilmember Smythe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, next is discussion item on park strip regulations. Alka?
Yeah, so this was to have in addition to section 10-23-5 landscape design standards. I believe this came from Public Works, and it was to basically just add wording to that code, clarifying what is and isn't allowed in the park strip. So this was also on that October 10th Planning Commission meeting, where they recommended approval. And it was on that October 15th City Council meeting where there was some discussion on what should be allowed, what shouldn't be allowed in the park strip. And there was discussion on specifically a carriageway and whether some of that concrete would be allowed within the park strip. The change now is to allow that with Public Works approval.
So the light blue writing is what's new.
Yes.
Yeah, please, Councilmember.
So do we have a definition somewhere of carriageway?
Don't believe we do, but we can add that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a term we use a lot.
Yeah,
Just,
it was new to staff too.
just if I was going to read that and say, okay, what does that mean? I would still come away with, well, I still don't know what that means.
Or is that well, it says carriageway and/or drive approach. Is that another way of saying that, or?
No, they're different.
Okay. No, the idea I think is great, where there are a few more options for the residents there. But reminder that it's not homeowner property.
Yeah, and then just a reminder, there was a public hearing for this on the October 10th Planning Commission meeting. And there were no comments for that.
Thank you for that.
Mayor, just a suggestion, John works with this quite a bit. I wondered if his evaluation of it would at least give us some idea of what information we have before us.
Are you good with this change?
Yeah, we recommended it to them. Yep.
Okay. Is that
I gave it half
that
a
enough
page
for you?
there. You know, so they can get some in there, but yeah, we're also protected too, if we need, it's not allowed.
So if you damage a park strip, do you go back in and replace that, or how's that done?
We'll repair it to pre-existing conditions as long as it's not concrete or anything solid. In this case, we're looking to make sure it's not covering our water meter, our storm drain, sewer line, or anything like that. It will prevent us having to remove that prior to us having to remove that is kind of the concept is what we're going for.
So my understanding is that you would put it back the way it was before, as long as it wasn't concrete. Is that right?
Correct.
If it was concrete before, how would you handle it?
We'll just put gravel right back in it. Just
Okay.
put it right back.
All right.
And it helps, you know, if they put it over water meter, you have potential frost. You know, if we need to get in and work, sometimes we have to dig that ring out to get down inside. The concrete just makes it very hard to work.
Okay.
So no impermeable surfaces. Okay. Okay. So So this is a discussion item. If the council agrees, then this will come back as a ordinance change. Okay.
Yeah, on the 3rd.
They have one there that says turf grass cannot exceed 15%. Is that normal with other cities with park strips and that?
Yeah, most of the cities have something similar.
It's 35%. Oh, oh, you're
15
right. Got you. Okay. Anybody not okay with the park strip change? Councilor Stewart?
I'm okay with the park strip change. I guess as I read over the other information about turf grass, I was a little concerned, and I'm pretty sure we put it in place like it is because of the water situation a couple of years ago, and that we did it so that our people could participate in the water-wise rebate system. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, just as I read over it again, and I'm looking at grass not exceeding 15% of total landscaped area, and for multifamily and HOA common areas. I just know that my son and I are doing driving around a lot as he's trying to get his hours in for driving. And as we drive through the different neighborhoods, it's interesting to look at the different ways that areas do grass or not grass, right, and landscaping, and the kind of feel that it gives to a neighborhood, right? And if I'm looking at a neighborhood for how livable it is, then it's more livable if it's not cactus and rocks that I'm playing with my kid in, right? Or walking my dog in. And I understand the reason how we got to where we got to with it, but anyway, I just know that as we were driving around, my son commented on it too, about that he liked this area compared to that area, and part of it was the amount of grass and trees that were in the area. So I know we need to conserve water. I just don't want us to be so much a blackscape, so much a hardscape that we have concrete and blacktop everywhere, and then our temperatures go up, and anyway, it's just not a lovely
agree.
place to live in a concrete jungle.
No. Is there a list of trees they can plant in the park strip, or is that,
Yep.
because I know some trees will, over years' time, will pull up the concrete and the sidewalk
We
and
have
so
lists
forth.
of those. Are they on the website? Yeah, we have lists of those on the website.
Okay.
So I think we got a yes on the park strip change,
Okay.
but we might want some further discussion on the grass percentages at some
Yeah.
point.
And that's fine. I can look into that. But that, though, it would have to be restarting the process,
Right.
which
yeah.
is fine. We can bring it back up.
And then, you see percentages, if you could actually see that on a typical lot, what does 35 look like?
Yeah.
What does that entail?
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
So,
So Mayor, if I could just be clear on the direction tonight, are we sending this back to the Planning Commission to review the percentage of allowed grass landscaping? Or are we just preparing the amendments that are before you tonight for your next meeting for approval?
I get the impression that we prepared the park strip change for approval, and then somewhere before next spring, talk about grass percentages.
Yeah, I just want to be sure that
Yeah.
Alika knows, okay, what's next? What do we need to be doing? So we'll prepare this to move forward, and then taking direction to have the Planning Commission revisit the percentages of turf grass. Okay, thank you.
Can I
Please.
ask another clarifying question? Would you want, if the percentages needed to stay the same, to allow residents to participate in water-wise rebates, Would you want them to change?
Could we get some information about, did we actually have residents that participated in it? And if so, how many, right? Because if there were 3 people that participated in it in a city of 17,000, are we going to keep it at that percentage for those 3 people? Those 3 homes or businesses or whatever they are, right? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I would, as I looked to do that once, I think with my mom's property, there were so many restrictions, it almost made it not even worth it. So maybe we've got to look at what the water-wise requirements are now, and how many, if they can tell us how many people did it, and then make a decision after that information.
Yeah.
sure, the first couple of years, there was only the Flip Your Strip program. And I think 2 years ago, they added another program where you could get rebates if you redid your front yard. And it wasn't, again, it can be any type of like mulch or rocks. And I guess if you're concerned about the amount of rocks and would prefer that we require mulch, that's something we could do and still meet the percentage that's required of not having it in turf.
This is part of what's funny about the conversation. I'm a rock person. I like rocks. I really like rocks. I collect them. I look at them. They're interesting to me, but I just don't want them everywhere. So I don't know even that would, I don't know. I just think we should have a conversation and see, is this something that we relook at?
And would you like the conversation to be with the city council, or would you like the planning commission to relook at it and give you a recommendation?
What would my colleagues think? What's your thought?
Well, initially, this came about from the state and all their water, instigating water conservation. So we were looking at trying to do the best we could in the city. But as I have been going around the city, I've got one place that they took all their front yard out, made it all rocks, everything. And the parking strip, it's all rock. And that's not in compliance if we're looking at 35%. So I think we need to look at compliance with these people that are doing it. So,
Well, they said 35% or less, so
Right.
you can have your whole front
whole
lawn.
yard in rocks?
Yeah, it just can't exceed 35% is how it reads
Yeah.
right now.
But then
But-
it creates a heat issue
Yes,
where
it
you end up
does.
with
We're-
more
we're-
heat.
we're
So-
doing, we need to
Right.
relook at this. I think we need more discussion on what we need, because I don't know that is conserving that much water, because they're putting plants in there to water.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't. So I think it's a discussion we need to
Yeah,
relook at here.
would you like that discussion like a work session or like a joint session, or just send it straight back to planning commission?
Well,
I think it's from the planning commission perspective, I think we need a council work session on it to give
Right.
the planning commission more specific and direction.
I think
Instead of
that's
just
where we need to
revisit
go, work
this.
session
Yeah,
and then planning commission.
Okay, and then I'll also put in information of what we have right now in our general plan, because water conservation is part of it.
Right.
That was required by the state, so we'll just include all of it and see where we can go from there.
Yeah, I think we need to do that, because we're getting too much rock. It's just, I mean, it's amazing.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for your work on that. Appreciate that. And there was no public comment online. I didn't mention that earlier. All right, item 11, reports direction to the city manager. Councilmember Stevens, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few questions. Number one, on my phone or email, I had a resident, ask about a light that was out between 40th and 36th Street on Washington Boulevard. I know Washington Boulevard is a state street. How do we handle that as a city? Is there a procedure that we go through? I don't know if it's been fixed yet, but what would be the procedure if we had that type of situation?
My procedure's turned over to Mr. Anderson.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where it goes from there, but I'm sure he has an answer.
If you'll get us the address, we'll take a look at it and address it if it's the cities. If it's not cities, we'll get it to the correct individuals to get it addressed.
Okay. But it,
Typically, the state builds things and then they turn it over for us to take.
So would a street light on Washington be generally our duty then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending on where it's at, yep. Yeah, so you'll have to give me a location, we'll look at it. You got some out of the city. Sometimes you get private, depending on how far back, it could be a private one, but if it's
Okay.
typically, give me
All
the
right.
address, we'll take a look at it and
I'll-
make sure it's ours and get it fixed.
I'll look at that. And there's another state question I have, John. Up on the 89, just as you come around the corner of Crestwood Drive, on the north side, there's a dead deer there. It's been there for some time. Could you have the state look there? Yeah. Okay. All right. The other situation is, and I'm glad Leonard brought this up, but in our newsletter, we pointed out the snow restrictions for the winter, and we're getting into that time when that season that is possible at the present time. So does it start November the 1st and goes until
April
when?
1st.
April 1st. And the regulations is that you can't park on the street, 24 hours before the storm and
Midnight
12
to
hours
7.
after, or what?
12 before and 12 after.
Okay. And
So, I mean, it hasn't snowed. We're not going to drive around and ticket cars
No.
parked in November when it hasn't snowed. But once the snow starts and the plows are out, we will ticket people.
but the reason that is be so they can clear the roads aspect of it.
And the plows communicate with the police department and give them locations and addresses where cars are hindering their ability to clear the snow.
And I have to make a shout out to Donnell. If you go into the foyer, there's a tree there that has names and cards on, and those names and cards are assisting different individuals in the community. I applaud Donnell for going out and doing that. She says they've had a great response to that. But also the police has what they call an angel tree that I'd like to recognize as a positive entity for our citizens to help other individuals in that capacity. So I thank Donnell for setting up that tree and for our opportunity to help someone else. That's all I have there.
Thank you. Councilmember Stewart.
Thanks. As I mentioned before, we've been driving around, and in our driving, I noticed our street signs. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but I wonder if we revisit it, just about replacement schedule. We had talked about maybe not doing it right away, but I just wonder if we could have that conversation again, because some of the ones that I was seeing were not helpful at all, because you can't read what they say in the dark. And so I just wonder if we could have that conversation again. I know we've had it. I'd like to have it again.
The names of streets?
Yeah,
Yep, okay.
yes, on the street corners. So you get to the corner and you look and you're like, well, I see there's a sign, but I can't read what it says because it's not at all reflective, right? And so I don't know how long their life is, but some of them have met their life, I think. So, anyway, and then, as was mentioned earlier, I attended LPC, and they talked about a whole slew of things. Our next one's not until January, and it'll be right before the session starts. There are a lot of things being looked at, and we'll have a lot more concrete information come January, so buckle up soon. And then also I attended a visioning meeting with Wasatch Front Regional Council, and we talked a lot about bike routes and other transportation routes, but a lot more about bike routes and pedestrian ways. Not so much on that, but it was more the bike routes. Anyway, So that's something that's being looked at and talked about. And then I just wanted to double check. I know last meeting, Councilmember Howe had discussed or had asked about having a discussion on motorized instruments, devices, scooters, whatever you want to call them. I know as we are out and about, I've seen quite a few. The one day I came to a corner, and thankfully I was driving and not my student driver, because a kid came flying around the corner on a scooter, and he came so fast and cut the corner, and he didn't have a helmet on, and he didn't have lights or anything. Anyway, if we could have a conversation about, do we have the codes that we need to? I know we've looked at scooters in the past about whether they belong on the road or whatever, but we probably should look and have a conversation. And the question is, when can we expect that conversation? So, and I think that's everything for me. Thank you.
Councilmember Smythe.
I've just been looking at things online at some video presentations on urban development and urban blight and so forth, and everybody knows my stance on that. And also, I've been getting a lot of emails from people wanting to look at taking over our lighting, and I just refer them back to you, because to the city manager, because I get about 6 or 8 a week of these people that want to do something for us, and I'm not sure that I need to answer all those. Thank you. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Have a blessed Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Mr. Dixon.
Thank you, Mayor. Just refer you to my Friday email. There's a few things in there that we're trying to nail down our annual strategic planning retreat date, and there's a doodle poll link in that email for you to just select your availability, so we can try to get that on everyone's calendars. Community survey is moving forward, seeing really good results, and appreciate Danielle and getting that out. And so just a reminder to the community, we keep that survey open. We're shooting for 600 plus responses this year, so hopefully we can encourage residents to complete the survey. And of course that information is important, because you as a elected group use that to talk about, what the goals and objectives are for the community moving forward. Thursday's the Weber County Housing Open House at the Commissioners' Chambers at the county building, and that'll be from 1 to 4. Encourage as many of you as can make it as elected officials. It is also an open meeting for the public, should they want to attend. They've invited the state legislators in the county to be there, and we're going to talk about housing and the things that each city has been working on in relation to the housing crisis in the state. 1 to 3. Thank you. You just freed up an hour of my schedule. Okay. Local Officials Day with the Utah League is January 22nd. Registration is open, so if any of you are interested in attending that, please let me know. I can get you registered. And I think that's it. I'll just refer you to that email for any additional information. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And yeah, you put me down, register me for that day, please. Thank you, good work. I was asked to speak at Trio there in South Ogden on Veterans Day. They had a little Veterans Day presentation. That was great. I appreciate that opportunity. I've done that a couple years for them, and we have some veterans that live in there. We have a 100-year-old World War II vet that's there, and some others from Vietnam, and it was great to talk to them and to see them. And the department, Disabled American Veterans ran it and did the flag ceremony and spoke, and just some amazing people. And so brought Veterans Day really close to home again. So that was enjoyable. I'm glad they invited me to do that again. Last Friday, we had our first Youth City Council meeting. We're starting up our Youth City Council meeting. It was fantastic. Appreciate Mr. Dixon for having a nice agenda there. Brent Straight, former council member, is our advisor for that. He was there. He brought the donuts to bribe the kids. And then Danielle came to talk to the kids about some service opportunities for our events. And so there were 6 students there. One since has applied also. Just top-notch, very good kids, some 9th, 10th, 11th, and a 12th grader. So we're excited about the continuity, and it just could not have gotten us more excited, could not have gotten better, I don't think. So thanks everybody that assisted with that. We're off and running. They've set up their next meeting. And Danielle has them planning on volunteering for our Santa parade and pictures with Santa and Mrs. Claus. But we need some more help, so would invite the council members to please join us if you can. That is Saturday, December 14th. I'll be in the fire truck starting at 8 and parade around the city with Santa and Mrs. Claus. If any of you could be here at City Hall from 8:30 to noon while everybody comes and do crowd control and get them lined up for pictures with Santa and make the kids smile. I don't care. I don't know what you do. Danielle will have jobs for you to do, but we could really use you and a great time to associate with our residents. So Saturday, December 14th. As many of you that can, please help us out at about 8:30 that morning here at City Hall. Appreciate everybody's time and effort, and very productive meeting today. So with that, entertain a motion that we adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.